Hi everybody, this is Linda Faulkner at www.crafterinspired.com. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm here today to show you how to make this cute little panda card. Can you see it? He's almost camouflaged with all the papers behind it, but I wanted you to see this is coming from a new paper pack. It's 6x6 papers. It's called Tutti Frutti, and look at all the gorgeous combinations you can make with this paper pack. Even if you are not interested in doing something with fruit, there's lots of possibilities, as you'll see. And I've made 3 or 4 of the panda cards out of different papers so I can show you some combinations. So stay with me and we're going to learn how to make the panda card and also this little tassel that goes on top of his party hat. So let me clear my space and we'll get started. I started with the small note cards. They're 3.5 by 5, and from Stampin' Up! They come in a packet that also includes the envelopes, so it just makes it really fast because everything's ready. So my first layer is, I chose the apple design from the Tutti Frutti pack, and it is the same exact size as the card, so it measures 3.5 by 5 also. Now on this one, just to see what it would look like, I daubed the edges of all my pieces. So let me show you what that looks like if you're new to stamping. I just simply take my ink and a little dauber or a sponge would work also, and I just run it across the edge of my paper. I do that all the way around, and I do that on all the pieces that I used on the project. Okay, that's about all there is to it, and you can make it as dark or as light as you want, as thick or as thin as you'd like. Once you've got that done, you're simply going to use some tape runner to put it on your card base. Then the next piece is a coordinating color. This is a little taupe stripe. I think it's probably crumb cake, and it's almost 3 inches, 2 7/8 inches wide by 4 inches long. Now there's a little extra thing you're going to do with this one. I've already daubed the edges so it has just a little bit of a distressed look, and I want to curve these 2 outside edges. Now the easiest way for me to do it, and they have corner rounder punches, which you can use, but I like to use my envelope punch board because the back of it is actually a corner rounder. So I'm going to do this corner, and I simply punch, does it perfectly, and this corner. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and distress it after you've already cut the corners. I have already distressed this just to save a little time with my daubers. So that piece is going to be attached with tape runner. I just center it just like that. Just back it up to that edge and press it down. And the next layer is I'm ready for my circles. Now this is a 2 1/8 inch, and this one is a 2-inch scallop circle. Use whatever you have. If you have some punches already that are similar in size, I used my scallop framelits. There's a whole set of them that are gradual in size. You could also use your circle punches. So once I get those cut out and I've daubed the edges, I'm going to attach those with tape runner. Now I'm going to wait on my panda. That's going to go right there in the corner, but I'm going to pop it up with some dimensionals. So I want to wait till I get my panda bear on there before I do that. So let's go ahead and do our stamping next. And there are 3 images. This is coming from the Party Pandas Stamp Set, and it has 3 different Party Panda images. And they are just adorable. You're going to fall in love with those sweet faces. The 3 sentiments it has is happy birthday, hi, and I love you. So let me grab my ink. I like to use Memento ink when I'm stamping with black. As just a preference. It's certainly a must-have if you're going to be doing watercoloring with blender pens or any kind of watercoloring. So here I'm using the little stamp that has the party hat on it. I like to stamp with it a couple of times and stamp off and then ink it up really, really good till you have a solid black. Remember, you're just tapping, you're not pressing into the ink. And then I have a pretty good solid black. So I'm going to stamp my little guy. And it came out pretty close. Once I have it stamped, I'm going to fussy cut it. That means you're going to use some paper snips or some small scissors. And if you'll notice, I like to leave just a little bit of white border when I do my fussy cutting. Also, on the top where the tassel is, cut around that tassel, just right to the edge of it, but you'll want to leave a little space for you to glue dot your tassel to. So don't cut that tassel off. So here's my little party panda, and I'm going to color the dots on his hat with just a regular Stampin' Up! Marker. Give it just a little extra color. Sorry, it's hard to do it from the angle I'm looking at with the camera in front of me. There we go. And now I'm going to make the little tassel that's going to go on the top of his hat. So it's going to look like, this is one made out of baker's twine that's black and white. And here's one that's made out of the red baker's twine. So a little bit different look, but I like both of them. So we're going to take some of the baker's twine, and this is just leftovers I've had from something, and I'm just going to wrap it around my fingers, 2 fingers, maybe an inch and a half, not quite, inch and a half, big inch across, about 4 times. And then we'll cut it off. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut each end of my loops so that I have about 8 little strands of twine. And then I'm going to take another piece and make it plenty long. I'm going to take 8 inches or so that I have plenty to hold on to. I'm going to lay the twine pieces across the middle. Let's pull down a little bit. And then I'm just going to tie a knot. I'm just going to tie it one time though. I'm not going to double it. Right in the middle and pull it really tight. And that's a pretty big tassel for a little bear. So if you'll hold it by the knot and squish all the little tassel pieces up, and then you can trim it to whatever length you want. I'm doing it, let's see, I think that still might be a little bit too big. So it's maybe 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to trim just a little more off, and you can always go back and change it. So here's my little tassel. I'm going to lay it down there so you can see what that looks like. Now I'm going to put a glue dot on Party Panda's hat, and we're going to use the glue dot to hold our tassel together in the shape that we want. So see how nice that glue dot's going to fit where that other tassel was? And then I'm going to hold it by, I want to make sure that that knot gets in that glue dot. So I'm going to push it in there and then shape it like I want it. Okay, so there's your tassel. Now, if you think it's still too big, you can go back in and trim. So I'm going to trim off just a little bit more to make it more in proportion to my panda. And work that around and push more of those little pieces of twine up against that glue dot if you need to make it look right. Now, this one, for some reason, I don't like the way that the back of the tassel shows. I'm just going to trim that off. There we go. Isn't he cute? All right, so Party Panda is done. Let me pull my card back out. Now I'm going to use dimensionals to put him on the circle, and it's going to pop it up a little bit. And I'm going to also use dimensionals to put my circle on the card. So let me get that started, and then I'll be right back with you. I am back. I've got my dimensionals ready on the back of my circles. Just going to adhere that to the front of the card, and then adhere my Party Panda on top of that. And you can make him upside down, sideways, whatever you want. To me, he looks like he's dancing a little bit, so we're gonna put him a little bit askew. The next part is adding the Amazing You, and that is coming from a die cut that is brand new. It's called Celebrate You, and let me show that to you. Here you get the 3 die cuts: Celebrate, Amazing, and You. And here's the U. I've already cut that out using the Big Shot machine. And here's the word Amazing. And we are going to be adhering those to the front of our card. And I'm going to use some glue with a little sponge. When I have very tiny places that need to be glued, like on the word Amazing, I like to take a Stampin' Up! Sponge, cut it into 4ths. I just keep them in a baggie, and I put just a little bit of the mono liquid glue on a piece of wax paper, or I like to use a paper plate, and I'm going to sponge that very lightly on the back of my word. And that's about all it's going to take. And then I can lay that onto my card. Now on the word You, I have enough space here that I can put foam strips on the back and pop it up a little bit. So I'm going to put foam strips on here, and I'll show you what it looks like before I glue it on. There we go. I think I need to pull it down a little bit. What do you think? There we go. I think that'll work. So here is my finished card, all done with my little panda. Here are some other examples of the same design. I've used different pandas and just different combinations of the actual papers. These are all coming from the Tutti Frutti papers. And here's another one. And this is the navy blue with the yellow stripes. And I just thought that was really pretty. Now, on the inside, let me find one I've done on the inside. I added the sentiment, happy birthday, and then I just added the little panda, and this is the panda that's holding the card. So, one thing I need to tell you, the Celebrate You, these are the thinlets that we talked about that I used on the front, and they're all beautiful. I've used them on many different cards. These are one of the free items you get for Celebration, and Celebration is a once-a-year special that Stampin' Up! Does. They have a whole catalog of items that you can get for free. So here's my Celebration catalog and the little Panda Stamp Set and the Celebrate You dies. Here's the die cuts, and the pandas are all free. You cannot buy them. Of course, you can't get something for nothing. You know that. So the deal is when you spend $50 on any kind of Stampin' Up! Product from my online store, you get to choose a $50 Celebration item. If you need catalogs or more information, or you want to see the Celebration brochure, just take a look at my blog. I'll also have all the measurements and more details on making the card on my blog. It's www.crafterinspired.com. And also, if you need a catalog or Celebration brochure, just send me an email. All that information will be at the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon.